Morning, everybody. What time you guys got? I feel like it gets early. I meant the 6:30 is early for me. How many people on Zoom with you? What, do we have 6:30 yet? I'll wait till 6:30 till we get started. If you're on your seat, on your bike, go ahead and just start riding easy. As soon as my clock ticks over to 6:30, I'll officially start us. Start this though. All right, 6:30. Here we go. Press play. Whew, how you guys doing? The first few minutes, I only rode for about 4 minutes because it's tougher for me to get started earlier. But I'm here. Showing up is half the battle. 46-minute workout today. I added a 9th set of the 30 seconds. So I need to do my best at keeping us on track, keeping myself on track. Hopefully your weekend was good. The weather was a little strange here in Seattle. I guess it didn't rain as much as it was expected to, so that's a good thing. Make sure if you're just getting started and haven't warmed up yet, get a nice easy gear. Every minute or so you can bump down harder gear. Let's see. It's kind of way off in the future, but not next week. So we'll see you on this Thursday, which I think is the 11th. And then next week, I'll be here Monday. Hi, Patricia. And then, so it's going to be the 17th, 18th. So normally it would be the 18th because that's Thursday. But I'm going on vacation. Yay. So I'm going to do the live workout on Wednesday. But I know there's a group of you that swim on Wednesday. So I definitely think you could just keep your Zoom call on Thursday and then do the Zoom ride on Thursday, and it would be a recording. So it could be interesting. The following week, the 22nd, is a Monday, and I'm still on vacation. So go ahead and switch to a harder gear if you haven't already. So I'm on vacation on Monday, the 22nd. So what I did yesterday was I recorded a brand new session. It's a hill climbing simulation. It's not super hard. It's mostly low gear stuff, but gave a lot of tips for climbing. So it would be worth watching just simply for the climbing tips. So I'm going to release that to you guys in the coming weeks. So my hope is that, especially with the Zoom on Monday the 22nd, you could just treat that as a live workout. Everybody show up at the same time and do it. So we'll see how that goes. And then Thursday, which is probably the 25th, I'll be back. And we'll do something live. All right. Keep selecting a little bit harder gear as your intensity increases. So today's main set is 9 times through, 30 seconds, very hard, minute easy, a minute 30 aerobic. Now, because it seems like lately, which is a great thing, there's a new person to every ride. So if you are new to our format and you have not been doing high intensity work, when we do the 30 seconds hard, my recommendation would be that you don't go above, say, uncomfortable. There's a big difference between uncomfortable and hard and very hard. So uncomfortable is just, you can still put out 2 words. You can still, 2 words and then a breath. Moderately hard is how I would describe that. You don't want to jump into high intensity too soon. The one rule I have is too much too soon equals injury. So you want to ease into it. If you've been at it a while and you've been doing some intensity work, then you can raise that up to, go from uncomfortable to hard, maybe stay away from very hard. But for those of you who've been here with me now for I think like 7 weeks, isn't that amazing? Maybe 8. This might be 8. You can go for it. Okay. So that's my little speech on intensity. I have in 10 seconds. I have to calibrate my CompuTrainer. So keep riding. What that means is on my trainer, I have to bring my speed up to 25 miles an hour, and then I stop pedaling, and it gives me a resistance number, and it should be right around 2.0. CompuTrainer is a bulletproof beast that the company who made CompuTrainers, I think, went out of business like 5-6 years ago because their software was always terrible. But fortunately, now other people make software that run the CompuTrainer better. So I guess one good thing about it is it calibrates that tension on the back wheel. Hey, Maureen, welcome. So on your own trainer, a good way to calibrate that tension is when you screw down the thing that brings the roller up to the wheel. You can hold the flywheel so it doesn't move, and then just sort of moderately pull on your wheel. And if it slides, especially pretty easily, it means that the roller needs to come further towards the wheel so you can tighten it down a little bit. Ideally, you should be able to hold the flywheel, pull, not super hard, but just grab the rim and pull it up, and it shouldn't move. And that's how you'll know you have the right amount of tension. The worst thing is having too little tension, because the tire will slip and it'll build up heat. And then I've had it. Hopefully you never have this. But especially if you look down and there's all these bits of rubber, that's a really bad sign. There's been a couple times when I've been riding and the tire's heated up, and all of a sudden it just sounds like a shotgun. Boom! It just blows. And that's because the flywheel wasn't pressed up hard enough into the back wheel. So if you're going through tires quickly, it could be not enough tension. I also have, on this bike, I have a specific trainer tire, and I got it in a red color, so then it's obvious. But actually, if you go from inside to outside a lot, it's not the worst thing, especially if you have a second wheel. You can take a second wheel. I have a second wheel, and I have a second gear set, same gear set as my other bike, and I have a trainer tire. And what happened, I just switched my wheel because the trainer can wear your tire quite a bit. And so when you're riding on the trainer and riding outside, if you get to a point where you start to get a lot of flat tires outside, it could be because your tire's been worn from the trainer and you don't really realize that, right? Just so the more your tire gets worn, it gets thinner, the more prone it is to tiny little sharp rocks outside that you're not going to have on the trainer necessarily. So that's a reason why I do that. I just switch my wheel. So right now I switch my wheel probably like 4 times a week, because say if I might ride this afternoon outside, or I might ride tomorrow, then I got to switch the wheel. Then on Thursday I got to switch the wheel back. But I used to change the tire, which is really good tire changing practice. Hi Christine. Maybe you don't have enough tension on there. But changing the tire every time is a real pain in the butt, but it is good practice. So anyway, let's get into the big chain ring in your easy big chain ring gear. And then let's bring our cadence up to 90. If you don't have cadence, let me see my knees. Try to match your legs to my legs. I'm at 88 right now. still at 88, 89, 90, 92, 90. Okay, right about there is 90. So if you don't have cadence, you can try to time, say, one side of your knee to me. It could be mirrored because you're probably looking at me. And here's right about 90. All right. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to be doing 3 times 45 seconds low cadence. We're going to do the first one high cadence. So we're going to go 5 seconds. We're going to go 45 seconds. We're going to go for high cadence. Ready? Here we go. So high cadence is like 95, 100, above 100. Sometimes I feel like I have a harder time getting my cadence up inside than outside. But right now I'm at 97, 99, 100, 102, 101. You can also, this is really good because when you get really high cadence, you know, I can feel myself wanting to bounce a little more. So those are my cues to draw my belly button into my spine, elongate my spine, soft shock absorbing elbows, light fingers. 5 more seconds. 2, 1, relax. Whew. So you can stay in the same gear, just go nice and easy. Whew, that really gets your heart rate up, doesn't it? Okay, the next one we're going to do low cadence. So you're going to switch once we start, at least 2 gears harder. You can play around with it there. This doesn't have to be super hard effort. It can be aerobic, so it can be conversational pace. We're going to go in 5 seconds. So my cadence right now is about 75. So we'll be 75 or lower. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go 3 gears harder. And again, it doesn't have to be super hard from an effort standpoint, but what we're looking for is engagement of the pedal stroke. I'm at 63 cadence right now, 65. You can see the legs are a lot slower, but it's also a little bit harder in terms of turning the pedals over. Maybe take note of what gear you're in, and next time we're going to go 1 gear harder. All right, recover. So probably 2-3 clicks easier. You can get your big chain ring in your easy gear, which means you still have 2 gears that are left uncovered by the chain. Whew. Okay, so this next one I want to aim for 1 gear harder, which will bring up our intensity. I'm going to go in like 15 seconds. So let the effort rise on this one a little bit. Ready? Here we go. 45 seconds. Start to get into maybe like an uncomfortable effort, but not hard. So moderately hard, but not hard. Hard is breathing really hard. Hard is not wanting to talk. Hard is a lot of concentration. Moderately hard is like, it's not bad, but, you know, kind of not going to be sad when it stops. 5 seconds. All right, recover. So 45 seconds, I think. Big chain ring, easiest gear is good. Okay, we're going to start off 30 seconds at your effort. That could be just slightly uncomfortable. It could be hard. It could be very hard. It's 30 seconds, so it goes by quickly. So usually what happens is, even though you set out to go very hard, it doesn't necessarily reach that point until like 20 seconds in. So, but the intention is just to really go for it. Okay, ready? Here we go. Ready? Go. So shift to a harder gear. Bring your cadence up. So we want to do both here. We really want to try to lift our cadence, which is going to be challenging because we're in a harder gear, like on the 86. Again, it's only 30 seconds. Three, two, one. Okay, recover, go to a small chain ring with your chain in the middle of the gear, cluster in the back. So when I do this, when you see me do that, I'm just taking a quick peek at where my chain's at, where my gear's at. So you should feel in your small chain ring in the middle of your gears, that should feel real easy, very little tension in the pedals. Our goal here is just to let the breathing come back, circulate some blood. And we're going to go into a minute 30 of aerobic, and then we'll do it all over. And the biggest challenge will be not forgetting what number we're on. So that was number 1, which is a reminder to myself. Who knew counting would be so hard? But you know what it's like when you swim. It's the same thing. You're like, was that 10 laps? Was that 1 lap? All right, now we're going to go a minute 30 aerobic. So you can do that in the small chain ring, in which case you probably want to be close to one of your last 2 gears. And remember, that means there's 2 gears you don't choose, because that would make the chain cross chain. So right now I'm in the small chain ring. I still have 1 gear easier I could go into. My cadence is 85, so I'm going to bring my cadence up to 90. And this is an aerobic effort for me. If you find you're working too hard, you can go a couple gears easier in the small chain ring. And then the other place you can ride mostly, for most people, I would say, you could let me know, I guess, is you can go into the big chain ring. So to get there, I'm going to go my right side, 3 clicks easier, and then right away my left side into the big chain ring. And now I'm going to go 1 or 2 clicks easier. I'm in my easiest gear in the big chain ring, and this actually feels a little bit easier than my second to hardest gear in the small chain ring. So I'm going to go 1 gear harder. So let's everybody find yourself in the big chain ring, because we're starting on number 2 in 10 seconds. And for it to be very hard, you need to be in the big chain ring. Going in 5, 3, 1. Here we go. Go. 30 seconds hard. You can stand up if you want to. Get out that power right out of the gate. So we're looking for high gearing, as much cadence as we can, which when you're in a harder gear is probably only going to be like 80, 85. I'm at 80 right now. But we're looking for the combo of the 2. 5, 3, 1. Correct. Whew. So small chain ring. So for myself, I'm in the big chain ring and right in the middle of the cog set, working really hard. So when I just want to go to straight easy, I just went small chain ring and put me in this very easy gear. There we go. 1. Whew. All right, number 2. So I'm going to ask you guys to do what I did last time, because I want you to feel and see if Oh, you're keeping count for me, Mentha. Thanks. I want you to feel, let's go, minute and a half. Here we go. Small chain ring. Select one of your last gears. Give me 2 gears you're not going to use. So then either 3 or 4. And let's bring our cadence up. And then what we're going to do is I want you to compare how this feels when you're in your easy big chain ring gear. So I'm at 85, 86 cadence. So pay attention to the tension in your legs. Pay attention to the perceived exertion. I always do this because it's like, how do your lungs feel? That's what I ask people a lot of times. How do your lungs feel? If you want to tap into perceived exertion, how's that breathing rate? Okay, let's move to the big chain ring. So I like to make 3 switches. My right side, then switch my chain ring, and then there's still 2 more switches. For me, remember I have 11 speed cog. I have 11 gears in the back. So I'm in my easiest big chain ring gear, which means there's 2 more gears. And to me, this feels easier than the small chain ring, big gear. So I'm gonna go 1 gear harder. So to me, this gear feels about the same. Okay, we're going 30 seconds and 3 seconds. Ready? Here we go. Go. So it's partly cadence, partly gear choice, but either way, it's just intentionally working harder. All right, recover. Whew. Get a drink. Number 3. So you can feel too as we move through these, the fatigue starts to accumulate, right? So already number 3 was harder than number 1. So that's natural. Thanks, Mentha. Mentha's keeping track. If anybody's new joining us, I like to recommend 1 bottle hydration per hour. So when I go for a 2-hour bike ride outside, I make sure I have 2 bottles. If I go for a 3-hour bike ride, I make sure I have 2 bottles and money to buy a 3rd bottle on the way. All right, we're doing a minute and a half aerobic now. So if you stay in the small chain ring, just select a little bit harder gear. Bring your cadence up to 90. You can also go into the big chain ring and one of your easier gears. So I'm at 89, 91, 90. So right here, if you're looking at my knees, this cadence of about 90. So I'm gonna start moving my way to the big chain ring, because in 30 seconds, we do number 4, 30 seconds hard. And like I did that one time, sometimes you can stand up to really increase your power, which makes it easier to get up to cadence faster in a harder gear. If you want to join me in that, we'll do that. So you're going to have to switch to a harder gear so when you stand up, it's hard. Okay, ready? Here we go. 30 seconds. Switch to a harder gear. Stand up. Sit down. Push, push, push. All right, relax. Whew. Number 4. If any of you ladies, how come no guys join anything? Just in general. If any of you are riding with virtual power, so like if you had a Zwift account or Ruby Trainer Road, and you had the ability to do virtual power, which really just kind of requires a Bluetooth Ant Plus enabled speed cadence sensor, or if you have a smart trainer, they automatically connect. But you can basically create virtual power. So as opposed to spending $700,000 on a power meter, but of course those subscriptions are like $15 a month. So, but if you had that, if you had power, if you're riding and you have power, looking at your power during these is an excellent way to also judge your output. So you can use that for motivation. All right, we moved into the aerobic phase. So slightly harder gear, bring your cadence up. For the rest of you who don't have power, speed would be a pretty good measurement. Like if you looked at your speed, because the more power you put out, generally the faster your speed will register. So that would be a metric you could use. Heart rate is not a good metric in this situation. Okay, I'm switching to big chain ring. The reason why heart rate's not a good situation, a good measurement right now, is because it takes like 1 minute to 2 minutes for your heart rate to normalize. So we're riding really easy, riding really aerobically, and then boom, we go really hard. Even by the time we get to 30 seconds, my heart rate is like 30 beats lower than what it actually is, just because it has that, it's called lag time. Okay, we're going in 5 seconds. Ready, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds, let's go. All right, recover. Whew. That was number 5, I think, right? I lost track. I was in the middle of that. I was thinking, was that 4? But you're keeping track. 5 down, 4 to go. You can probably hear me breathing through my teeth there. Whew. So in that one, what I did, and you can try this next time, there's different ways to get into that hard zone. So what I did that time is I just got my cadence up really fast right out of the gate, and I switched gears. But all in a matter of 6 seconds, it was all about super high cadence while switching gears and trying to maintain that. And that was tough. So if you want, I'll walk you through that next time. I'm also going to look at my lap speed and see what that does. I'm going to see if using speed is a good metric for you for measuring your effort. Okay, let's bring up the cadence to 90. %, done. 75% done through the workout. 60% water drink, 75% done through the workout. All right, we have 55 seconds of aerobic left. I'm going to go up into the big chain ring. You don't have to. I'll cue you there in about 20 seconds. If you're not already there. Still want to keep the cadence up. All right, go ahead and start making your way to the big chain ring in one of your easier gears. Okay, so when we start, number 6. Is that right? Yep, number 6. I want you to get your cadence up really fast. Boom, boom, boom. Switch gears. Keep your cadence up. Switch gears. Keep your cadence up. That's going to be your mindset. Ready? We're going 3 seconds. 2, 1, go. Bring your cadence up. Switch gears. Keep your cadence up. Switch gears. Keep your cadence up. If you can't switch gears one more time, go for it. But you can see the cadence starts to get hard because the gearing's hard. Now is when you just got to fight for it. Five seconds. All right, recover. Tough. 6 down. 3 to go. We're onward, downward slope. You know, whenever you do a lot of these, when you get to the halfway point, it's usually a pretty good sign. But when you can start counting down, it's like, oh, so great. In fact, if you're counting these on your own and you're watching this later and you're not able to see Mentha so kindly putting up the numbers, sometimes it's easier to count. Like once you get to 5, just start counting down, say 4 left, 3 left, 2 left, 1 left. Sometimes that's easier mentally than 6, 7, 8, 9. Whew. Man, a minute recovery, which is now, goes by quick. All right, a minute and a half aerobics, so let's bring our cadence up. So in that recovery period, it's like your permission to ride as slow as you want to, right? Easiest gear you want to. Basically, just keep the legs moving. We don't want to stop the legs, but honestly, pick the easiest gear that feels comfortable. And now when we do this aerobic work, we want to get our cadence back to 90, and then we want to find a suitable gear while we keep our cadence up towards 90, keep our breathing rate, more aerobic, more conversational. It's getting challenging for me, so I'm going to find some more inspiring music. I've got 35 seconds to do so. All right, find yourself in the big chain ring. We got 3 left. So, did you like that when you went really high cadence out of the gate, or did you like it where you stand up first? Try something new, try something that feels good to you. I don't know what I'm gonna do except just go hard. Okay, we're going 2, 1, go. All right, so, I lost track. I gave you an extra 4 seconds. Sorry about that. So, great example though. Do you remember when I told you when we were doing, I think, the high cadence and low cadence, about how when you're working hard, it takes a lot of concentration? That's a great example. I was concentrating so hard, I looked up and it was at 34 seconds. But that's the kind of concentration it takes when you're going that hard, because your brain and your body is just like telling you to stop, Self-preservation. 2 left. Whew. That's where if you've heard the term, maybe he buried his head. You know, if you saw me, like I buried my head in pain. Like, definitely a cycling term. Like if you watch the tour. All right, we have 1:15 aerobic. I'm gonna go up to the big chain ring. You don't have to. Two more. Oh man. What do we got? 45 seconds. So those of you that read my emails that went out this weekend, one of the highlights of my week was just hearing from several of you how showing up to the bike workouts helped you mentally, spiritually, especially with all that went on last week and looks like it's going to go on this week. It's disturbing and distressing times for sure. And, you know, it's when we feel our worst is when we want to work out the least, but also when we need it the most. So I appreciate you for showing up. I applaud you for showing up. And with that, we're going to go hard in 10 seconds. All right, find yourself in the big chain ring. You got 5 seconds to get there. 2, 1, ready, 30 seconds, go. I promise to look at the clock more this time. All right, relax. Wowzer. Oh, man. All right, feeling it in your legs? My quads are like screaming at me. One more, which is one more than last week. And then next week, we're going to drop back to 8, but then we're going to go for 40 seconds. And you wouldn't think 10 seconds is going to make a huge deal, but when you're riding hard like that, adding 10 seconds is going to be rough. Fair warning. But your effort will always somewhat compensate, right? So it might be like a tad easier effort-wise out of necessity. Oh, man, one more. All right, 1.5 minutes aerobic. And if you can get out there and ride this week outside, see if you can feel stronger on small hills, big hills, which might come from like developing this sense of engagement of the pedal stroke when you ride these short bursts like this. You know, you can feel how you really have to use your butt to do like a leg press and really try to sweep through the bottom of the pedal stroke, which will get you a lot more power. Because one of the things that, I mean, you know, we're here to get a great workout for sure. But another thing that's like important to me for you is helping you become a better, more confident, stronger cyclist outside. So that's why I like to really focus on all these tips. We're going to go in 15 seconds. So if you're not in the big chain ring, get in the big chain ring. So a lot of times when I'm riding outside, I think about our sessions here, and I think about things that I'm thinking about out there that I can bring in here. Ready? We're going in 2, 1, last 30 seconds. All right, great job. Recover. You can tell right there, like, I feel like I had to say recover in 2 syllables with the breath in between re and cover. So going back to using your speech is really a fantastic way to start to understand perceived exertion. Woohoo! Number 9. Yeah, thanks, Mentha. Whew. All right, make sure you get some hydration. I know I gave this tip plenty of times early on in the cycling, but I also know that there's new people here. So if you ever struggle getting a water bottle out when you're out on the road, because you grab it like this, right? So it's really hard to drink like that. So what I do, and I just didn't even realize I do this, but if I'm riding super easy, I'll a lot of times just put it on my leg and slide my hand down. But when I'm riding harder and I take a drink, I use my chest and I slide the bottle. So I go like this and I just boom. See how I slid that down? And so it puts it in a perfect position to take a quick drink. And then oftentimes, you can't really see this, but so I have it here, right? And now when I want to put it away, I want to get to here. So sometimes I might slide down, but what I typically do after taking a drink is I pin it to my chest and walk my hand up. So if this is my chest, so you can see, I basically have it here, pin it so it won't fall, right? Because a lot of times I think people don't drink enough when they're cycling because they're not confident grabbing their water bottle. So you can work on that, pin it, like push this bottom side, slide your hand down, and then when you want to put it away, try pinning it and walking it up really quickly. So, quick tip of the day. All right, let's go aerobic. Let's go small chain ring. Let's go one of your harder 2 gears. So remember, you have 2 gears remaining. Maybe you have 3 gears remaining. I'm going to read that question. Okay. Bring your cadence up to 90. Do you open, close the top every time you drink? I do. If you ride with noon, because noon is effervescent, and you don't close the top, a lot of times you'll get a lot of leakage out of the top. So another good tip, that's a great question. When you get done riding, look at your frame. And if you have a bunch of drip marks, it means that you're leaking. So, and a lot of times that just comes from being open. So what I do is after I take a drink, I usually use my teeth to close it and press in, or when I'm putting it away, I put one finger up here and I just press it down. But the reason, so look at your frame when you're done cycling. And if you're using a sports drink, you're using sugar, which is good while you're exercising. But sugar on your frame will corrode it. And so if you see a bunch of drip marks on your frame, A, it's a good reason to wipe off your bike when you're done. But B, it means that you're getting leaking. And if it's not coming from here, the top, it could be coming from not having it screwed on correctly here. But I have noticed my wife loves noon. I like scratch. But noon with the effervescent, I feel like has more tendency to just kind of expand. So, all right, let's go 2 gears easier. So if your cadence is super high, you can go 1 gear harder. But great question. But sometimes, I leave it open just maybe more accidentally, like if I have to take a quick sip and don't have as much time to close it off. But in general, I try to close it off. Okay, 1 gear easier. We're on the wind down. We'll go a minute and 10 seconds more, and we'll get to the 46 minutes. Again, anybody that wants to keep on riding, just do it aerobically. Do it at a conversational pace. For those of you who aren't on it, some of these lovely people do a Zoom call. And so then you get the benefit, you get more community, which is super cool. Somebody in New York who might be on here, hi New York, said it'd be really cool if we had, like, instead of looking at me, you could look at scenery. And the only idea that I had was you could use something like Zwift, which had scenery, and you can ride. And then you could use your phone to look at the YouTube live, and then you would have both. Or you could use your TV, or you could use your screen. Not that you could watch a movie because you couldn't listen, but I don't know, something like that. You could use two screens in some fashion. But I love all the ideas coming out of it, and that's it, 46 minutes. Go ahead and stop if you're stopping. But yeah, I love the ideas just because, you know, the more we can do to make this super enjoyable, whether that's community or scenery or whatever. Thanks for showing up, guys. Have a great day. I think in Seattle, we're supposed to have a little bit of sun today, and I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks.